risk is higher, what about detection risk? Yeah, it's lower. The auditor has to reduce the likelihood that they don't find a material misstatement because they can't rely on the internal controls. So detection risk, they have to lower the detection risk, right? And how do they lower the detection risk? They do more effective, robust procedures, or highly effective, robust procedures, more testing, and they do their testing at year end. Okay? Think about this again. What's the relationship between control risk and detection risk? See if you understand what I'm talking about. The inverse relationship. When control risk is higher, detection risk is lower, and vice versa. So the relationship between control risk and detection risk is inverse. Keep that in mind as we go through this conceptual equation, okay? What's the relationship between the risk of material misstatement and detection risk? For those of you that have trouble like memorizing, because I'm like that, think of it logically. We're saying control risk is higher. What does that mean? That means the controls are weak, right? If the controls are bad, do I think that the auditors should do more or less testing? Well, if the controls are bad, they should do more testing. They should do really effective procedures, and they should do it after year end because that's the audit that they're doing, right? So it does make sense if you can take a minute to understand it. Okay? So it's easy to go from here to here, but it might not be as easy to say, okay, if control risk is bad, then detection risk should be lower, right? Yeah, because the auditor has to reduce their risk that they don't find something. If detection risk needs to be lower, then the net, remember that had to do with the form of the test, well, it has to be more robust. So highly effective, highly robust procedures. So not inquiry, but examination of the documents kind of thing, right? Because remember, inquiry is the least effective because people can lie. So instead of doing inquiry, they're going to have to do confirmations, or they're going to have to inspect documentation. The E stands for extent. So that had to do with quantity. Well, if the controls are really bad, right, the auditor should do more testing. So more testing, bigger sample. And then the timing is, well, if it's really risky, then it needs to be done after year end. After the year is over, then you go in and inspect everything.